Hey everybody, and thanks for joining me on another episode of Straight Jacket White Rabbit. My name's Adam, and as usual, I'll be your host. You guys, it's been a crazy couple of months. I mean, between the Epstein files and their pizza, grape soda, cookies, whatever other code words, all the code words in those emails that everyone's deciphering that inevitably leads you down the path of pedophilia, child abduction, cannibalism. You know, we have the continuing war with Ukraine and Russia. We have President Trump going in and attacking the cartels, and the cartels attacking Mexico. And then we have him taking out Maduro and his crew with like 20 boots on the ground and some weird sonic weapons, causing soldiers to bleed and cough up blood and blood out of their eyes and ears and nose, all kinds of stuff, extreme disorientation. Now we've got the Iran issue going on, China building up a submarine arsenal. Just a lot of weird things going on. And then you add in the fact that you have Obama bringing up the fact that aliens are real, and then you have Trump 5 days later talking about declassifying. I mean, literally just giving Pete Hegseth the order, you know, that he wants UFO, UAP, extraterrestrial, or alien documents declassified. And then less than 10 days later, you have Hillary Clinton talking to Congress where they bring up the Podesta emails and the UFO disclosure questions. And those emails are also linked to another man by the name of Major General William Neal McCasland. McCasland. I think it's McCasland. Now, the reason this two-star General McCasland is a big deal is because he, according to various sources, is the connection, the linchpin, you guys, to the old school UFO programs, to the legacy UFO programs. This is the man that ran, you guys, he ran. He ran his entire career. First of all, before I say this, his entire career revolved around advanced aerospace research, you guys, technology management, directed energy weapons. But he also worked as a project manager where he managed a $2.2 billion science and technology program at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. For those of you who follow the UFO lore, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out why that makes a lot of us interested in him. Wright-Patterson is the holy grail of UFO technology. Now, I know a lot of people, Roswell, you know, all these other bases. There are bases that have this technology at them as well. But Wright-Patterson was the first that we know of. This is where they supposedly brought the crashed ship from Italy in 1933. This is where the Roswell wreckage was supposedly taken. And McCasland had supposedly direct knowledge of the Roswell crashed retrieval materials being at this base. Now, why is it interesting? Because Hillary Clinton, literally the day before this man disappeared, was asked these questions about the Podesta emails, which bring up McCasland. McCasland then vanished. Poof, gone. Like a fart in the wind. Nobody knows where he's at. It's barely making headlines. Why, I don't understand. I mean, Nancy Guthrie's on every channel. but a 2-star general with connections to our highest programs as far as space technology goes, as far as any of our directed energy weaponry and things like this goes, and massive amounts of knowledge on our UFO UAP programs. This man disappears and there's almost no coverage. Now let me set the tone for you guys. Okay, I want to read you something. Now, as far as his disappearance, as of March 9th, 2026, there was a silver alert issued for McCasland, who was reported missing in Albuquerque. A lot of people have been trying to discredit this man and saying that the silver alert was issued because of some kind of cognitive dissonance or mental illness or Alzheimer's or something of this nature. His wife has already debunked this. He is in perfectly clear mental shape. His mental faculties are 100%. He's good. So that leaves, this could have been medication, things he needs like this. We're not sure they're not releasing it. But there were odd things. Number one, this man disappeared without telling his wife, supposedly, or anyone else where he went. He supposedly disappeared going, last seen from what we've heard, on a jogging trail in Albuquerque. And I actually know the trail because I used to live right by it. Now, he went on his jog without 2 specific items that his wife says he always takes, which is his Apple Watch and his cell phone. That puts up so many red flags, unfortunately, for this man, you guys. And I believe that there is, in all honesty, only 3 possibilities at this point. And I'm not going to say, obviously he's alive or he's dead. Well, yeah, no, I know that too. But I believe that either this man was killed by our government, parts of our shadow government, to keep him quiet. This man was, we'll say, taken into protection, kind of like witness protection. It's not hard to imagine they've done it to our brightest minds before. Well, sorry, you're needed, and you're going to spend some time with us. They just pick you up, and they take you with them. Or the other option is that he fled. Maybe he knew something was about to come out, and people were going to be asking him a lot of tough questions. Maybe he just decided that it wasn't worth it. I personally do not believe that we will ever see McCasland alive again. And before I get too many boos and what the heck, and you're just being negative, there's reasons for this, you guys. The amount of people associated, and I'm not even going the UFO route, which is what most people probably think, but the amount of people associated with directed energy weapons in this country, scientists, lab workers, all kinds of people, you guys. People associated with directed energy weapons and directed energy projects disappear quite regularly. There's a list of probably close to 200 names. For those of you who've been lucky enough to find it before it's kind of been scrubbed away, you know what list I'm talking about. There's a list that used to circulate on the internet. I'm sure with hard enough research, either I or someone out here can find it again, of missing people connected with directed energy weapons, or people who had strange deaths who were associated with directed energy weapons. Now we're talking about dozens of car crashes, hit and runs, drug overdoses, heart attacks, drownings that were suspicious. One female scientist, the lead on a directed energy weapon project, drowned in 2 inches of water. Very, very peculiar stuff when you start talking about directed energy weapons, you guys. The government has, I've said this for a long time, the government doesn't care if you talk about little green men. They don't care if you talk about the alien life forms, for the most part. What they really care about is the technology. People who start poking too deep into the technology of these recovered craft, of directed energy weapons, these people tend to have shorter lifespans or just go missing entirely. And you're talking about a man who had, super secret top clearance. Okay, his clearance was above top secret. He had a very, very deep dive clearance. And this man was working on projects that had to do with directed energy weapons for decades. Then you count the fact that in the late 2000s, 2015, I think it was, 2013, he was working at Wright-Patterson in charge of his department until he retired. And a lot of people believe that he was brought into more than once, according to some people. He was brought in to look at their UAP projects. Now, I'm not saying whether he did or didn't. It is a fact that he worked at Wright-Patterson. It is a fact that he worked on space recovery of actual things from space. Now, whether you want to chalk that up to UAP, UFO, Russian satellites, whatever, these are actual credentials this man held. This man had some of the deepest knowledge of things like directed energy weapons, UFOs, things of this nature. Some of the most damning evidence, some would say, in our entire country. And he vanishes without a trace. They can't even tell you what he was wearing that day. His own wife can't tell you what he left the house wearing. Does that seem a little odd to you? I'm not implicating her, but I'm saying it's odd. I can tell you what my wife left the house in last night. I can tell you what she left the house in this morning. How do you not know what your partner leaves the house wearing? But I can get over that, Maybe she wasn't home when he left. Maybe she was asleep when he got dressed and left. Who knows? But then you have the items I told you that he didn't bring. His Apple Watch and his cell phone. Now, according to the wife, he normally takes these items, but he didn't this day. Well, that tends to support two of my three theories. One is he was taken. If he was escorted from the house, maybe opened the door to the wrong visitor and was coerced out of the home quietly, possibly even at gunpoint. Or he chose to leave those things behind because he knows that anyone, especially the government, can track you on an Apple smartwatch or on a cell phone. Did he plan to disappear? Did he leave these items behind on purpose so that he couldn't be tracked? Or was he forced to leave them behind so that he couldn't be followed? Either way, McCasland is missing. He's gone. He's nowhere to be found. I hate to be the dark one of the group, but I don't believe we're going to find him alive. I really don't. Because that's how these programs work. If they can't guarantee your silence, if they can't buy your silence, or threaten you into silence, there are easier ways for them to deal with you. People like Tom DeLonge, who, by the way, Tom DeLonge, you guys, the singer from Blink-182 who went really deep dive into the UFO phenomenon, he was talking to this general, you guys, on and off for quite a while. He actually had a lot to do with the foundation that Tom DeLonge set up for the UFO investigations. He had a lot to say to Tom DeLonge. His wife says that he doesn't know any big secrets, but Tom DeLonge says that not only did he know big secrets, he knew bigger secrets than even what Tom DeLonge was told, which was, pretty mind-blowing stuff. The fact that he worked at these places, he saw UFO wreckage from Roswell, or at least parts of the technology recovered from Roswell, among other things. This man seems to be more plugged into this than Podesta or any of these other clowns ever were. This man seems to be somebody who was on the working floor of the UFO UAP programs. But the legacy programs are different, you guys. The legacy programs that this man supposedly had knowledge of, we're talking about the stuff that we know they're never going to disclose to us. We're talking about the 33 crash in Italy. We're talking about the real events at Roswell. We're talking about whether or not we have alien bodies. This man knew these secrets. A lot of people believe this, not just me. People he spoke with, colleagues of his, friends of his, people that he mentored like Tom DeLonge. So what do you think about this, you guys? Why is, number one, the media not covering this? And there's going to be people out there, well, I saw it on Fox. You saw like a 2 or 4 minute news brief at most. I have been scouring the internet, and the only people talking about this at length are people like me. YouTubers, podcasters, people on Twitter and X and YouTube. We're talking about it. We see what's going on and we're worried about it. CNN, Fox, BBC, none of these news networks, MSNBC, CBS, none of these news networks are covering this. And if they have covered it, it's with like literally a 2-minute piece about how some elderly general went missing. And they keep trying to purposely mislead the public. They're calling him the elderly general. Well, yes, he was 68, but he was in great health, both mentally and physically, according to everyone who knew him. He was not some febile old man. This man went on runs and jogs on a regular basis. He was in good overall health, according to his wife and his doctor, supposedly. This man had no reason to just go missing or to drop dead randomly. So why is the media not covering this? Because they were told not to. I've told you this before. Our media, regardless of what stations you watch, all of it is pipelined and guided very meticulously by shadow organizations such as the CIA, the Department of Energy, the Department of War, or Defense, or whatever you want to call them nowadays. Our media hasn't been our media since way before the creation of the CIA. Now, we do have freedom of the press in this country, thankfully, which means that the real news has been being picked up for the last decade or so by people like me, like Joe Rogan, the big name podcasters, Piers Morgan. I wish to God I get to be as big as either one of those one day. That would be awesome. But people like us podcasters, YouTubers, we're the only ones asking legitimate questions anymore that the people should really want to know about, that the mainstream media is so scared to touch because of Big Brother that they wouldn't touch it if, quite frankly, they had immunity from Congress. So the legacy media, the Big Brother media, whatever you want to call it, the mainstream media, isn't covering the disappearance of a 2-star general with top secret clearances, all kinds of insider information on weapons programs that have to deal with directed energy weapons. That'd be like if somebody stole freaking Oppenheimer before the nuke was done. Or right after the nuke was done, for that matter. We'd be tearing this country apart if this happened and somebody stole Oppenheimer. Now, I'm not saying this man was as smart, or not even comparing intellects, but this was a well-educated man who was at the top of his fields, who had access to some very shady programs. And we hear nothing. They know nothing. Look at all the reports, you guys. They don't know what this man was wearing when he left his house. They don't know which direction he went. We live in a day and age of cameras. You're telling me nobody's ring camera, nobody's nothing, no gas station cameras caught him. Nobody saw this man on a hiking trail or the jogging trails he normally goes to, and those trails are well traveled, you guys. I don't know if you know this. Those of you from around Albuquerque or who've been to Albuquerque before, these trails are fairly popular. People run them on a regular basis, multiple times a day. This is not somewhere you would go to if you just wanted to vanish. Okay, and if he had a heart attack or a stroke or some kind of medical emergency, where's his body? Why has nobody found him? Now, the FBI has recently joined the search, and it took this long, but also, they're not having any luck. They've brought out dogs who couldn't follow any kind of a noticeable trail. According to the FBI, the dogs did not hit on a trail, so the dogs led nowhere. They've had drones. They had a fleet of drones fly over and map the area. There is no body that they've found. They've had dozens of search parties, both official and from friends and family, who were coordinating with officials. They've had helicopters, searchlights. They've had people wandering the trails with whistles, calling out his name, listening for responses. They even had people with the parabolic dish listening to see if they could hear him yelling for help. Nothing. Big fat zero every time. So either this man doesn't want to be found because of we'll say the atmosphere around the UAP UFO subject and the disclosure that's forthcoming, hopefully, or he got taken by our government or even another government, which is a scary thought. This man has massive secrets of ours in his head. But I don't think another government came in and took him. I don't think they would even begin to know how, to be honest. Not in that public of an area, not in that well-to-do an area. I mean, everyone in that entire neighborhood has ring cameras and security cameras, which is also why I'm kind of stuck as to why the FBI hasn't said that they've had any camera footage of him. You figure they would have released some kind of camera footage by now. I mean, look at the Guthrie case. They're releasing doorbell cameras that have absolutely no footage of her or her assailants, and they're like, this is the next door neighbor's camera. We didn't capture anything, but here it is. And they're still putting that on the news. Empty doorbell footage. We haven't seen anything from his neighborhood, or any of the traffic cameras, or anything else in Albuquerque. Are they purposely withholding this? Maybe they have something on camera. Maybe they're just not disclosing it to the public yet. But for my 2 cents, you'll never see this man alive again. Because whether our government took him, another government took him, or he went into hiding himself, it was done for a reason. To keep this man quiet, to hide what he knows. Be it from the public, be it from our government. Maybe another government wanted him. But this 2-star general has vanished without a trace. And nobody seems to really care. Now, the UFO community has been picking this up a lot, you guys. A lot more than the regular news has. Because we all see the link. We're like, hey, this dude disappears and you got nothing to say except for, whoops, what happened? Meanwhile, a TV anchor, her mom disappears. You have wall-to-wall national coverage. Cable news, regular news, satellite news. Guthrie's name was all over every TV channel for weeks. Still is on a lot of them. So where's the love for McCasland? Now, something strange came out from his wife. She made a statement about how he's unplugged and wouldn't have any knowledge of the current whereabouts of UFOs or UAPs, which is kind of odd. She said current whereabouts. Not that he didn't ever work with them or anything. She also jokes in her comments about possibly being abducted by a mothership. What kind of a grieving wife would joke about her husband being abducted by aliens when he's still missing? He could be injured. He could be dead. Would you be making jokes about your significant other being abducted by aliens? I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe this woman is just incredibly resilient. And if so, good on her. Or maybe he told her he was going to go missing, if he decided to go missing on purpose. Or maybe they took him and they let her know about it, and she'll join him at a later date. But if he's not alive, what kind of a macabre sense of humor is that? Trying to, once again, the media, and apparently this man's wife, to make light of the UFO subject. You see it all the time on every talk show, every news conference, every congressional hearing. Someone brings up the word UFO or UAP or alien, and the snickering and the laughing under their breath and their big cheesy grins all come out. Because it's much easier, you guys, to make fun of the subject, to make light of the subject, than it is to face the ugly truth, which is, we have the ships. We have the bodies. Some alive, possibly, or dead. We've been reverse engineering this technology for decades. Our government has lied to us from the start. And programs that people like McCasland have worked on, these black budget programs, they don't just exist at Wright-Patterson. They don't just exist at S4 on Area 51. Or even in the Utah deserts. These are in multiple bases. There are multiple independent companies. Lockheed Skunk Works, one of the most popular ones I know. But not by far the only one, just so you guys are aware. It's not just Lockheed Martin. But all of this treasure trove of information, you guys, is being hidden from you. And they hope that we're not asking the right questions. They're scared of this coming out. They don't know what the public's reaction's going to be. They don't know how far to take the lies or how far to let the truth come out. Do they merely tell us that alien life exists that we've recently found out? Or do they do the full disclosure? Look, we've been lying to you, but it was for national security reasons, to stop a panic, and to stop people from being able to spy on the technology that we were reverse engineering at the time from these craft. I believe we live in a time, you guys, where it's a very realistic possibility that we could have the answers to these types of questions very soon, sooner than you think. And I believe that in one way or another, in one form or another, disclosure will happen soon. Whether it's just going to be a massive leak that the military can't deny, maybe footage of an actual extraterrestrial. Why not? We know we have their ships. We know that we've had programs actively dedicated to shooting them down. you have to figure if we're shooting them down, if they're piloted, we had to have something to do with the pilots. Were they all dead on impact? I doubt it. These are the types of questions, you guys, that really make me kind of start thinking about life in general, and, you know, the way that most people walk through the world with their eyes closed, just feeling around for the truth. I'm not going to do that. If I see two connecting points, I'm going to draw a line. And then another line, and another line. And I'm going to connect the dots until I can see the picture. Because I want to know the truth. I want to see the code in the matrix. Now, not everybody does. I know you guys do. But it's simply time. It's time for disclosure. It's time for truth and transparency. At least to the extent of these programs, or the majority of these programs. Now, like I said, I've long said, you guys, that I am not a proponent of divulging things that are going to put our country at risk, or any kind of security risk for our country. Don't tell us about the advancements from the technology we've gotten. Fine, I'm good with that. But we owe the human race, we owe the American people, we owe the people of every country on this planet, over 7 billion of us. We owe us answers. Every country that knows the truth of this owes the worldwide population answers. Are we alone? If we're not alone, where are they from? Are they from multiple places? Are they from other dimensions, other timelines, other planets, galaxies, universes? Because whether McCasland's found or not, I'm sorry, I said McCasland. McCasland. Whether McCasland's found or not, these things are going to keep coming out. We are past the point of plugging the dam with our finger, you know, the proverbial finger in the dam holding back the floodwaters. We're past that point. The dam is not just cracked, it's completely crumbled. Congress and other people who were supposed to be kept in the dark, for the most part. Now, there are some members of Congress who I firmly believe have been briefed on parts of the UAP programs. And for those of them who are the ones who had knowledge of this, you can go directly to hell. And I mean that. But I do believe that there were a lot of members of Congress who are told they're not ever going to know this truth, these secrets. But now they do. And a lot of these people, I mean, it doesn't matter, Democrat, Republican, both sides are pushing for this in Congress. Majorly. Now, there are some people who are trying to fight it behind the scenes. And we all know who those people are. But they're not winning. And the more they fight and protest and put up a fit about these hearings and declassification of these programs, the more we know they were in on it. The more proof it is that they were in on it and they knew these things were going on. So I hope we find this man. I really do, you guys. I hope we find McCasland. And I hope we find him well. Because I'm sure that Congress would like to speak with him. And after the president has ordered the declassification of these files, I'm sure there's a lot of Americans who have questions for this man that need to be answered. You guys, I'm going to end it here. I appreciate and love all of you guys. I love you for your support. Thank you very much. For those of you who like the show and aren't yet subscribed, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to make sure you get all the newest content. For those of you who are subscribed and who are members, much love to you guys. My brother, the Good Vibe Tribe, all of you guys. I love you guys. Yeah, I just want to tell you guys, man, these things happen and people disappear looking into this stuff. And people who know too much disappear because they know too much. So, keep your eyes on what's going on in the world. It's a scary time. And make sure you're reading behind every single line. Because the devil's in the details. This has been Straight Jacket White Rabbit saying good night, and I love you all.